The quality of people all around the world has been, well, degenerating across like the last 100 years, severely, I may say, and especially the more severe, the more technologized a society has become. When you look everywhere in the world, you'll see the quality of people has gone down so much, though strangely, the conditions of life have gone significantly higher, right? Everyone now has access to education. It's no longer only for the rich. Everyone has access more or less to some hospitalization and healthcare. Everyone has access to goods that they can buy nowadays. And obviously, healthcare and health conditions have improved significantly thanks to all sorts of inventions that made and ensured our lifespan can grow much longer than in the older times, in the medieval times when people would die because of diseases that nowadays they're barely any problem. But back in the times, they used to be lethal. Even 100 and so years ago, some of those diseases would be lethal. Yes, even if they would take probably years to bring you down, they would still be lethal. Now, when we look at things, the more you look at people, everyone has so much more access to education, to learning skills, to learning anything that you may ever want. Almost anything, yes, but the possibilities are nigh infinite. You don't have the time to learn so many of the things that are available. Yet, strangely, people simply become more dumb and stupid by the day. You can see that in the quality of people you find in, let's say, easiest environments, like video games, right? Remember back in the times when you played online games and it's like everyone was more or less a team player and as such. Well, obviously there were the trolls, but trolls will always exist. Nowadays, when you play an online game, a team-based game, it's like all those games teach you to play with bots at the beginning so that you learn the core mechanics. And then it's like they're only making you get used to the fact that when you start playing ranked or even casual games, non-ranked ones, you're still gonna play, or better said, waste your time with bots, right? It's like the dumb ones always are in your team. Not surprisingly, you will see in the opposite teams as well. But it's like you're always gonna be the fourth, the fifth baboon in your own team because obviously you're not gonna fare much better than the rest. If you constantly play with low IQ people, well, you might have much greater IQ than them, but you're not going to learn much from, trying to play the game in a different way. Nowadays, this whole agenda of do it yourself, be yourself, win in life alone. See, nobody lives their life alone. You will always be tied to every single being in this planet, every single creature in this planet, one way or another. Because everything not only has a connection by default in nature, but in this human society we live in, everyone paying their taxes ensures in a way their economy. Anyone who's rich has a certain influence on economy. Even the poor have their own influence on economy. Each and every job has a certain influence, though insignificant apparently. Obviously, every little one counts. Now you look at the quality of the so-called people. There is so much fragmentation in the world. All the bozos are free nowadays to say everything they fucking want. And it's like, why would you even bother with them? It's not that I'm bothering with them, it's that they bother you by the simple fact that not only are they loud, not only are they allowed to be loud, but also they are so fucking many. It's like everywhere you look, you find a bozo not supporting their idea. It's like almost imposing their idea, as if they somehow ended up thinking that they are some kind of god that's gonna be here forever, and that the stupid drama, the worthless piece of shit drama in their brains, in their head, or whatever, is the most important thing in the world. All you'll hear about them is complaining about something or supporting their nonsensical aspects again and a fucking again and again. And it's like they won't shut the fuck up. They won't quit it. They will just yap and babble about that again and again. When you look, for example, at the quality of women, we can say women have the easiest and best life of the entire, well, let's not say entire, but of this last 4,000 years. Obviously, women have been living the best lifetime that they can have in these, let's say, last 20, 30 years. Because back in the times when they weren't allowed in, let's say, religious places, they weren't allowed to vote, they weren't allowed so many freaking things. This was happening mainly because men, as a structure of society, know that they don't have to waste a woman's time with all these insignificant things that they can handle. So typically, a man knows that a woman needs their comfort because sooner or later she will have to raise a family. And one has to be pretty comfortable to simply raise a family. That is why women were not allowed to work in toxic environments. Women were not allowed in different environments because it was more or less a sense of protection. But obviously, the problem was obviously there were people who simply exploited this one way or another. And well, in time, women ended up having horrible, you know, experiences in entire societies, not just individuals and such. Nowadays, when you look, they have all the possibility. So many women even outclass men when it comes to results in exams, in different jobs, and such. But when you draw a line and you look at things as a whole, you see the quality of women has gone down so much fucking astronomically almost that it's like they don't even know they are a woman. Some of them don't even want to consider themselves a woman. It's like, I can't care, the society can't care, the whole cosmos doesn't care what your stupid mind has to say. Because in the end, whatever you believe, it's not going to change anything in the world. Only action will change. All these bozos end up saying all sorts of feminist things because stupid people, they are just like mold. They will easily fall for the first person they deem worthy to follow. Because never forget, ignorant people will always be slaves by design. They will always want someone to dictate them what to do because in that they won't have to take any responsibility. And guess what? What are the ignorant people? Well, obviously fuckers who are afraid of taking responsibility, right? Why will always a sick society support them? Why will always a sick society turn them in its own police? Because they are easy to control, they don't have any remorse, they can't care about anything. If you get some of these bozos and you point them to crash someone's business, they will simply do that. Because it's easy to tell, it's easy to be told, do this, and you will do that, especially if you lack the awareness for it. When you look at all this feminism and the such, you see so many of these bozo women will tell you that men are cheap, men are easy. See, if your whole life only revolves around, a nightclub and the such, where you just shake your booty and draw some attention, see, no man ever wants you, you dumb fuck. This is something that women have to realize. If a man wants you and you're dealing with the lowest, cheapest quality, as you call them, because you're only places that you go around are nightclubs and the such, discos and whatever you call them. See, that quality of people, they see what a man wants in life, what a man craves in life is the same things that a woman likes. Yes, there is no difference in that. Men will want physicality more, yes, but it doesn't necessarily have to be sex. If the quality of their life is very low, obviously they will want sex because ignorant people will only allow themselves sex because it is the easiest to achieve. Other things that can give you pleasure will obviously require you to simply invest time and patience that they don't have. They don't want to invest that. And secondarily, let's not forget that you need commitment. They don't have patience, so they won't commit. Commitment also means taking responsibility. Most people don't have time for responsibility because their internal drama is far more important than their worthless life. Yes, they have turned their life into the most worthless experience they may have, but, well, karmically speaking, it will have its own lessons sooner or later. When you look at all these people that call others cheap and the such, see, if you deal with the cheapest men, the lowest quality of men, the funniest thing is they don't want you specifically. Maybe they want sex, obviously, but they're not wanting it with you. Just as they may have wanted you for a short period of time, be sure they would have wanted other women as well. Yes, you're not the only one. You're not their goddess or something. Because weak people, they are always slaves of their impulses. Yes? And weak people will always crave something. They will always obsess about something. Typically, it's sex, power, or control. And obviously, they will be correlated and combined. Some people want to be controlling even in sex. Some people just like to receive because depending on what certain lacks they have, certain things will be triggered within and they will obsess about those. Yes? When you look at these people, the quality of them is so disgusting in the end. But still, it doesn't even matter much because they won't care about that. See, when you can't care about yourself, no one else will care about you. If you think in your delusionness that, people are cheap, have you tried actually going for the high league, for the high standards one? Right? Why I say high standards and not rich people is because not all rich people necessarily have high standards. A lot of people steal and cheat their way through money. Those people who have reached, a high level of, income on their own efforts, without cheating, without stealing their way through, and through modest ways, through learning the wisdom needed for that, you will see those people will not waste their time with bozo women like you. Not even I. I'm not a billionaire, I'm not a millionaire, but I've got certain things that some millionaires and billionaires don't have. I've got patience in life, I've got wisdom, probably far beyond my age. I've got a cerebral mind that can analyze most situations thorough. I can read through some people pretty easily. But more importantly, my internal world is very calm. This makes me quite, I might say, attractive in a certain way, but I don't want to call things about myself. I've seen it through my life. A lot of people, men, women, children, even people of my age, even people of almost twice my age, simply liked being around me. Some of them would simply come out of nowhere and sit on a bench close to me. Then they would leave. But when you have an aura that simply radiates calmness and, can be soothing enough. And one other thing that I have that impressed a lot of people is the fact that I can be a good listener. Meeting such a person in life is very rare. I assure you, some of these qualities that I have, obviously, I'm not the only one in the world who has these. I don't have such complexes. I'm not calling myself some, God or whatever. I don't need such complexes. But when you look at these features, I think I can be much more attractive than a bozo woman or a man, with such complexes that they think everyone else is weak. When you deal with the weakest, see, it's exactly the same thing. Like playing a fucking video game and you're prancing about on the internet that you defeated the easy bots. Yes, those were designed to be defeated easily because that's what they were designed for. Yes, even if you defeat the best of the bots, you still have the challenge of defeating the best of the humans. But bots will always stay bots, even as humans. When they have a bot level brain, they will simply say all sorts of delulu things. They will say all sorts of nonsense because that's what they technically are. A piece of nonsense that shouldn't be bothering society. But obviously, there is a problem when they become too many because sooner or later their noise is going to disturb. Their noise is going to be a problem because, well, when everyone is allowed to say all sorts of, irrelevant things, when is society going to simply become better? You see people nowadays identifying as whatever piece of illusion they can think of. You see people calling themselves whatever. You see people thinking the earth is flat. You may find tomorrow people who think the earth is a cube because, well, if someone thinks the earth is a demisphere, why wouldn't they think that the earth is a cube next time, right? Or whatever other silly nonsense that people have. All these agendas in society, they're only making use of people's untrained minds. And, well, it's all about a scheme to make money from, people seeking attention. It's all about giving them the illusion that they're wanted. Nobody ever truly wants you. Only people who have some emotion, and empathy and such. They may at most want you to be good in life, but nobody with a brain will ever want to mingle with toxic people. So hopefully this video raised a bit of awareness. You are appreciated. Take care, enjoy life, and this being said, Ferinjan Board signing out.